AI companion. No, thank you. I'll do it myself, said the little red one. My recording's on. Okay, for the recording. Welcome back. We are ACI course 10. Congratulations, everyone. Right, it feels like we're on the downhill slide, but you know, these courses 10 through 15, they are amazing. So it's not the downhill slide at all. It's this beautiful elevation, not a climb like effort, but just I hope that you're going to feel yourself go like this as we go through these next classes. They're just extraordinary, and I'm really honored to get to share them with you. They've put out the new, not new, but the specific guidelines for being a certified ACI teacher. And part of it has to do with making it very clear that we are not teaching Buddhism here. We are teaching philosophy, the philosophical principles and practices that Buddha taught as clarified by Jetsun-Kappa. So we are teaching Jetsun-Kappa here, and you do not need to be a card-carrying Buddhist. You can be if you want, and I can help you become one if you want, but that's not what these courses are about. You know, if you are already a member of another religion, stay that way and apply these principles to your own practice, and God bless. Also, for anyone who's new, my requirement for you, or my request of you, is to attend the class in person as best you can. If you have to miss, the recordings will be available. Download the recording as soon as you get the link to it, because it'll only be available from me for 3 days. And then it's available elsewhere. If you miss, please listen before you come to the next class so you're up to speed. Please do your homework before prior to the next class, and your quiz prior to the next class, and your meditation assignment, so that you keep up and don't get bogged down. There's always a review class at the end. Class 11 is a review. That reviews the final exam. We will set a date for which all the papers and final exam get submitted, so that we can have a completion done before we move to our next class. So I really, really encourage you to stay as up to date as you can. And there are groups that will help you do that. I ask you to do your homework, then look at the answer key and grade your own homework. If you need to write anything down to correct your answer, mark off 1 point. If you leave the whole answer blank, mark off 5 points. Otherwise, be nice to yourself. Give yourself 95s to 100s, please. It's not about the score, it's about the review and comparing your answer to the answer key. And did I get all the nuances? Then study your answer key, put it away, do your quiz from memory. Then get out the answer key and grade your own quiz. Again, be nice to yourself. Make sure you mark your time of your meditation, date and time for submitting, and then keep track. So in the end, you will give your scores to our class assistant, who is Luisa. Still, Luisa, you want to do it? Give me a thumbs up if yes.
Yes,
okay.
Yes.
And she'll help organize how to get our final exams graded. So for the final exams, we'll swap final exams, and somebody else will grade yours and you will grade somebody else's. And then we'll submit them all and you will get your certificates. my classes don't go through the ACI platform just because they're busy and we're on our own schedule. So we'll send our homeworks, etc., directly to the ACI Dean, Sheree McDaniel, and she'll send you your certificates by email that you're welcome to print out or not, right? I want you to have completion karma. So that's why I'm trying to lay this all out. Please help each other stay up to date with classes. If anything gets fouled up, feel free to email me. You know, I very rarely kick somebody out of class because they're not keeping up. I have done it. So be careful. All right. So that said, let's gather our minds here as we usually do, please. Bring your attention to your breath until you hear from me again. Now bring to mind that being who for you is a manifestation of ultimate love, ultimate compassion, ultimate wisdom, and see them there with you. They are gazing at you with their unconditional love for you, smiling at you with their holy great compassion, their wisdom radiating from them, that beautiful golden glow encompassing you in its light. And then we hear them say, bring to mind someone you know who's hurting in some way. Feel how much you would like to be able to help them. Recognize how the worldly ways we try fall short. How wonderful it will be when we can also help in some deep and ultimate way, a way through which they will go on to stop their distress forever. Deep down, we know this is possible. Excuse me. Learning about the marriage of karma and emptiness, we glimpse how it's possible. And so I invite you to grow this wish into a longing. And that longing into an intention. And with that intention, turn your mind back to your precious holy being. We know that they know what we need to know, what we need to learn yet, what we need to do yet, to become one who can help this other in this deep and ultimate way. And so we ask them, please, please teach us that. And they are so happy that we've asked. Of course, they agree. Our gratitude arises. We want to offer them something exquisite. And so we think of the perfect world they are teaching us how to create. We imagine we can hold it in our hands, and we offer it to them, following it with our promise to practice what they teach us, using our refuge prayer to make our promise. Here is the great earth, filled with fragrant incense and covered with a blanket of flowers. The great mountain, 4 lands, wearing the jewel of the sun and the moon. In my mind, I make them the paradise of a Buddha and offer it all to you. By this deed, may every living being experience the pure world. Idam Guru Ratna Mandalakam Niryatayami. I go for refuge until I am enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the highest community. Through the merit that I do when sharing this class and the rest, may we reach Buddhahood for the sake of every living being. I go for refuge until I am enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the highest community. Through the merit that I do in sharing this class and the rest, may we reach Buddhahood for the sake of every living being. I go for refuge until I am enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the highest community. Through the merit that I do in sharing this class and the rest, may all beings totally awaken for the benefit of every single other. All right. So this is ACI Course 10, Part 1 of the Guide to the Bodhisattva's Way of Life, to make sure you're in the right place. We always start a new course with reminding ourselves why we're making the effort to study this stuff. I mean, it is a lot of effort. Some of you are up really early in the morning, and we're all spending a lot of time. And why? I mean, really ask yourself, why? When we go to a training program, a worldly training program, we have some goal in mind. We want to, right, reach some expertise in our ability to do our new trade or our new skill. And we're willing to put in the effort for a certain period of time because we see this greater gain. And then, you know, something happened for each of us somewhere along the way in our worldly human life that somehow made us question the usefulness of that, of putting in so much effort to try to get something we want, only to end up being disappointed. And whatever our unique experience or set of experiences that brought us here, they almost always have this common component of being somehow wickedly disappointed, hurt by something. And to the extent that it's just like this world doesn't make sense. There has to be something wrong with this picture. And we searched and looked and tried out different things, and then somehow landed here in this particular tradition. And here are these words, though, you know, the words of the pen thing, in such a way that something caught us. You know, it's like, whoa, This is different than anything I've ever heard before. And it's true for me. And every time I hear it again, even when I'm hearing my own self say it, it still like blows me away at what a different point of view comes through the Buddha's teachings as presented to us through this lineage of Jetsun-Kappa. So we're studying this material for answers to these questions of why is happiness seems to be so impossible to sustain. Right? For some of us, it seems impossible to even reach, let alone sustain. For others of us, we can reach some happiness, but we can't seem to sustain it. And the purposes of these classes is to hear an explanation of why that might be true and what we can do about it. But then the idea is to try those ideas on for size and see if we can show to ourselves that there is in fact a different way of being in our old world such that we can bring about a change in the way our old world appears to us. Every experience that we have, pleasant or unpleasant, is a result of a cause. We know that. Even in worldly life, everything has a cause. But the worldly causes that we blame for the results are not the actual causes for our experience. And that's the beauty of these teachings, is to help us separate worldly causes from actual causes. Because if we have unpleasant results, by the time we have the result, there's nothing we can do about it. But if we can stop the causes for those unpleasant results, then we don't ever have to experience those results. We then need to be able to identify causes for the results and stop making those causes, or ones that we've already made, can we affect them in some way such that they can either not bring the result or bring a modified result? So that's the process of learning about it, learning the principles, learning the practices, and then trying them. So this particular text that we are studying, the Guide to the Bodhisattva's Way of Life, is a specific instruction book on how to do this, how to change those factors that are the causes for suffering life, for the fact that everything we try to get the happiness that we want in the end fails to bring the happiness we want, because we don't understand what really causes happiness. And this book is about how to make the actual causes. Its practices are not about how to stay calm as your life falls apart. These practices are not about stress reduction. In fact, has anybody experienced a little increased amount of stress by way of, I have to do what before I meditate? Wait, 20 minutes of pre-meditation in order to do a 5-minute meditation? Yes. What? add a minute of meditation every week for a year till I'm doing an hour of meditation plus the 20 minutes at the beginning? Yes. Like, what, are you nuts? I don't have time for that. Probably it's been more stressful at first. So we need to differentiate between two parts of us: the physical part, our body, and our mind part. And the when we say mind, I don't mean intellect, and I don't mean the thoughts or the thinking or the ideas. I mean this awareness. They call it that which is clear and aware, ineffable and clear. Our Mahamudra group studiers, we're starting to get glimpses of what we mean by mind. Physical bodies we're pretty familiar with. Physical bodies, and you could say include the physical things of our world, our me and my parts. They are two very different aspects of our me. In our Western world, at least, it seems like people seem to believe that when the body stops, the mind stops. And even when we have some underlying belief, no, there's a part of me that's going to go to heaven, and we ask somebody, well, what part of that is that's going to go to heaven? They'll say, oh, it's my soul. Well, is your soul part of your body? No. Is it part of your mind? No. It's this other thing that makes me up. And, maybe they're right. And even with that idea, if we ask them, well, does your mind stop when your body stops? They'll very likely say yes. And in this tradition, they say, well, that's the same as saying that if the horse drops dead, so does the rider, which of course is not the case. Just because your car dies doesn't mean you, the driver, die as well. So our physical bodies are this physical aspect of us, but this awareing happening is independent of that physical body, associated with it, of course. But just because the body stops, there's no evidence, no proof that the mind must stop also. So even if we get to a point where we're thinking, well, maybe that's the case, and if so, then the next question would be, well, then what happens next? Like, if this body dies, then you no longer have any access for contact with anything that had to do with your physical world. Whether that physical world is gone or there and you can't access it for right now doesn't matter. The mind can't access it. What's its experience? What is it experiencing? If it goes on, it must still be having some kind of experience. How do we know whether that experience is going to be better or worse or the same? And again, there are explanations about that process of how things go on. But just to entertain the idea that if the mind doesn't stop at the end of this body, we should ask, then what? And it's a critical question, because as we understand the process better and better about what determines the then what, we recognize that, in fact, our interaction with others, both mind interaction and physical interaction with others, is what colors what's going to come next for the mind once it separates from this body for good, because the body comes to an end. an aspect of this mind, clear and aware, is always the self aspect, meaning that which is aware, and that which is aware is unique to you. That is your you. That's what's observing. That's what is aware of its activities. And it's that you that goes on by yourself, infinitely changing, but never other than you. Right? So you have your subject side. There are infinite possibilities of what that subject side could be aware of itself as, once its awareness of itself as this ends. And once we have some insight into that, again, we want some help. How do I set things up so that whenever this life ends, I don't have to be so concerned about what will come next? Is there a way to do that? And of course, the answer is yes. Okay? Clean out the negative imprints, put in the positive imprints, and we have a greater likelihood of getting a positive imprint at the moment of death, right? Many of you know what I'm talking about already. If you don't, it will come. This text gives us a roadmap to stopping the perpetuation of this suffering existence. Not just this one, this lifetime. It's about stopping the perpetuation of the mistaken existence forever into the future. Every moment that we are doing something wisely, we're changing our future. But we have to do it ourselves. That subject side, that self, needs to be what's imprinted with this new way of being. Nobody can do it for us. Buddha can't do it for us, or they would have already. So it's up to us to make our own imprints. This text will help us learn to recognize where we are making the causes for perpetuating our suffering. It's basically our being poisoned by the misunderstanding of where things come from. So our belief that things have their identities and qualities in them means that we believe that object brings me the pleasure I feel, and that makes me want the object and makes me willing to do whatever I need to do to get the object in order to get the pleasure, in order to get the happiness. The mistaken view that the object is the cause of my happiness is what colors my mind such that I will make choices as to what I need to do to get that object. And often those choices will disregard how my behavior impacts another, such that I might even be willing to do something flat out unkind to get that piece of triple berry pie for myself. The end result, as we all know, is the perpetuation of a world in which people do selfish things to get the things they want. when it doesn't work anyway. And that's the difficult situation because it seems to work. Okay? If I see the triple berry pie and decide I'm going to grab it and run, I have a triple berry pie all to myself. It seemed to work. And that's the rub, because I'll probably do it again and again until someday I'll do it and I'll get caught and I get thrown in jail for stealing triple berry pie, right? I'm being ridiculous. But the point is, samsara seems to work until it doesn't. And the whole time we were misunderstanding. It never worked that way. So we're going to learn how to identify this misunderstanding of where our happiness comes from, and then learn how to help ourselves clear out the misunderstanding and grow the understanding of where things come from. And then how to grow our new behavior choices in order to create more of that wisdom, so that that wisdom can color our mind when we have choices to make about how to behave. This whole text is about how to practice the 6 perfections, which is all designed to help us grow our wisdom, ultimately to the wisdom at the level of the direct perception of emptiness, from which we then use that wisdom to continue to grow our perfections. And so that's where we'll be going over the next 3 courses with Guide to the Bodhisattva's Way of Life. So we'll be studying it for, almost a whole year. Geshe-la often says, look, the old way of finding happiness doesn't work. I know you know that because here you are in this class. You might as well try a new way. If it doesn't work, feel free to go back to the old way. But we won't know it doesn't work until we try it out. And then, of course, there's that time gap between when we make our changes and when we see our results. And what we'll try to do is to understand the pattern more and more clearly intellectually, so that we can even live within the time gap and prove to ourselves that the method works, even before we're seeing this direct, I did this and I got that effect, right? We'll see changes that we'll be able to tie together. Okay, so the basis of all of this, of course, is understanding the marriage of karma and emptiness, which is so sweetly and easily understood by way of, right, our classic, the pen thing. So because we've been away for a while, I've been away for a while, let's just get on the same page. Let's do the pen thing, please. So we've all heard it, right? Alonso, I don't know you. So I don't know your background the way I know everybody else. You know the pen thing, do you?
Hi, Sorani. Oh, yes, I do.
You've heard it.
I remember a little bit, so
Okay.
I'll listen again.
Yeah, you listen. So all of us listen as if we haven't heard it before, right? Because that way we can get a like, oh, I hadn't heard that way before. But I'm also going to ask you guys to teach it to me, right? So who wants to hold up the object? Dinara, you want to start us? Okay. Everybody unmute. I'll never ask you to do that again, probably. Okay. Start us off, Dinara.
What is this?
It looks like a black stick.
A pen.
Wait,
Pen?
it can't be a pen. It has no tip. Oh, okay.
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 Does everybody agree that it's a pen?
Yes.
Yay.
Yeah, I think so. Okay.
Okay, so what if a small puppy dog will come into this room and I will do this thing in front of their face? What will they do?
Bite.
Yeah,
Yucky.
they'll sniff it and put
Yeah.
it in their mouth. Yeah, okay, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Everybody agrees with that, right?
Yeah.
Cool. So then, who is right? You, who sees this as a pen, or a puppy who sees this as something to chew on, as a chewing toy?
I am right.
Who is right? You are right.
I'm right.
What about the puppy?
The
The
puppy
baby
You
knows
does.
right
too.
it, right?
You're right.
Did I hear that the puppy is also right?
No, it's a puppy. They don't think like humans, so therefore they don't see a pen.
Oh,
But they see it as chewing toy,
yeah, they must because they're chewing on it.
right? They don't take it and write with it letters to their girlfriends.
Okay.
So do you agree that both are right? You and everybody else here, and the puppy who sees it as a chewing toy,
Okay. Okay, I do.
right? Okay, I assume that everybody agrees. Okay, now imagine that I'm leaving this thing on the table here. Imagine this is a table, I'm leaving this thing here, and everyone, you, me, all the puppies, everybody is leaving this room. And this thing is there on the table. At that moment, what is this thing? Is it a pen or is it a chewing toy?
It's a landing strip for flies.
But
It's
only
a
if
pen.
I heard
It's
that
still
it's
a
something.
pen.
It's still a pen. How do you know?
Because human creates pens, and then this is a pen. So
Because humans create the word pen, and therefore it's a pen.
Nice.
Right.
At
But if
that
you don't know
moment,
it's there, if you don't know it's there,
Nothing.
then right. You can't know whether there's something there or not, and you can't know what it is. I mean, it's just not in
Right.
your awareness whatsoever.
yeah, because we don't see it, we are not in the room. So I heard someone
So
said
you-
nothing, right?
No, you're right.
Yes.
Right. It can be nothing or it's something like that that we don't know.
Yeah, we don't know.
Yeah. So what in our studies, we call this we don't know thing or something, I don't know, someone can call it potential. We call this emptiness. And this is very important. So
Okay.
it's something that can become something. Let's continue. So imagine you are coming back to the room, and the moment your eyes are laying on this thing, what do you see?
Pen.
Okay.
Pen. And the puppy comes back to the room. And the moment they see this thing, what do they start doing?
Chew toy.
Toy.
So
Right.
they start to see it as a chew toy, right? So from this experiment, do you think this thing is coming from its own side or it's coming from my side or your side?
Our size.
Own side,
Yeah, the observer
my
brings
side.
something. Right.
Yeah, different
Right?
perception. It must be from this side.
Right.
Right, because the puppy and me sees it differently. So there should be something coming from this side.
Right.
Okay?
Something.
Something.
Okay.
Okay. I'm trying to figure out what was next.
So why? Like
So
why
why?
did the human see pen and a puppy see chew toy? Why?
So there must be something coming and creating this thing as a pen for us.
Yeah,
Hmm?
right. There has
Yeah,
to be a
my
cause.
mo
What?
my mother told me this is a pen.
Right. So we'll blame
Okay.
Lisa's mother.
Let's bring Luisa's mother and ask her to teach a puppy to see this thing as a pen.
Oh, yeah.
How do you like this experiment? Right? So
Can't
there's
do it.
something
Mhm.
that we do, right? It's coming from our side or from the side of the observer. Okay, if it's so, let's try to make this one as something much better than just a pen. Like, let's make it a diamond. And let's use all our powers and everything, all the magic words or something. Let's just maybe close your eyes and wish that this one becomes a diamond. Okay? Let's diamond. Abracadabra, abracadabra, diamond. Do you see the diamond?
Oh, I still see a pen.
Still a pen. Interesting. If it's coming from me, but I cannot change it, something happening there, right?
Right.
So something makes me see it as a pen. It's not that I can change it myself, but it's still coming from me.
Mhm.
The parts.
What's next?
What about all the parts that make it a pen, that I call it a pen?
What about them?
If you put all of it together, it must be a pen.
Okay. So this way, you mean, this is a pen.
Yes.
What if I take this thing away? Is it still a pen?
Yes.
Okay. I don't know if it's...
You
No,
don't have
I
to
don't
break
think it's
it.
open. No, I'm not breaking. Is it still a pen?
Yes.
Okay. So we are taking off some parts, but it's still a pen.
Yes.
Does it mean that it depends on the parts?
No. No.
No,
Not without our mind saying so.
not right. Okay. Again, I'm a little bit lost. What was next?
You're doing a great job. So why? Why does the puppy's mind make it chew toy and human mind makes it pen?
Right, there should be something, right? And we call it seeds. It's something in our mind that opens up and covers this thing,
Right.
overlays this thing.
Right.
And
what makes
the
the
moment
seed?
we have a look, sorry?
What makes a seed?
Oh, that's a good question. What makes a seed? What makes it put it here?
Yeah.
So probably because I see this one as a pen, probably I gave it to somebody else in the past.
Yeah.
Someone needed it, needed a pen, and I shared my pen with somebody else. And my eyes saw it, my probably ears heard me offering a pen to a person, and that recorded in my mind. So it made an imprint. Imagine this is my mind, this is me giving a pen, so it made an imprint in my mind, and in few hours this imprint becomes a seed in my mind.
Nice.
And when the right condition is there, then this seed opens up and I see this thing as a pen.
Nice. Good. Good. Well done. Well done, everybody.
Thank you for your support.
So what we think, say, what we are aware of ourselves thinking, saying, doing towards what we are aware of as other makes these imprints. that float along, so to speak, until they cross their threshold into manifestation. And then what we experience is similar to what we did to plant the seed. So we plant the seed and then it comes back looking as if it's coming at us. Our belief that the object has its identity in it is included inside the imprint. So when it comes back, we experience as an object with its identity in it coming at us. Misunderstanding that is the basis of saying, well, then this pen is my pen. It's my favorite pen. I'm going to keep it. So when someone says, does anyone have a pen? I will go, no, and not share it because it's my favorite pen. And all of that is being imprinted in my mind that will, when it ripens, be me going, does anyone have an apple? I'm so hungry. And this person goes, no. Right? And I can't get my needs met from having missed an opportunity to share something with someone else. So that whole process is the basis of those three poisons: ignorant liking, ignorant disliking, and the ignorance itself, which is this big mistake of believing that identities and qualities are in the things. Identities and qualities are in the other. That makes me want them or want to avoid them. Those three poisons are this disease that we are infected with that is completely unnecessary. It's all mistaken. And that's the beauty of it, is that all we have to do is stop making the mistake. And this text is going to teach us how to do it, but then it's up to us to do it. Right? Just by learning and reading doesn't make it happen. Okay, so what text am I talking about? Okay, so I share the Tibetan in the form that I can read it because the Tibetan language, West Asian language, is being lost. And we want to contribute to its slowing of its demise, even reversal of that, by seeing ourselves see it and hearing ourselves say it. And so I do it in this version because that's what I'm capable of. So just say it so that you hear yourself saying the Tibetan as close to the pronunciation as we can get. Then I also share the Sanskrit so we can be complete. But for your homeworks and stuff, you're not required to do the Tibetan unless you want to. Okay, so first vocabulary is the name of the root text that we're studying is Changchub Sempe Chupa Lung Jukpa. The N is this prenasal that you hear. So please say Changchub Sempe Chupa Lung Jupa. Lung Jupa, if you can hear that. In Sanskrit, it's Bodhisattva Charyavatara. When you put two A's together, they become one A. They smash that word together, but it's two A's together. Bodhisattva Charyavatara. Changchub is the Tibetan word for Bodhisattva. Bodhisattva is Bodhi refers to an enlightened mind or enlightenment. Sattva is warrior. So Bodhisattva means a Buddhahood warrior, not a Buddha yet, but somebody who's hell-bent to become one, is the term Bodhisattva. Changchub is the Tibetan version of Bodhi. Changchub Sempe is the Sempe is the warrior. So Changchub Sempe is Bodhisattva. Chupa Lung Jukpa. The Chupa means the activities, the things we do. And Lung Jukpa means entering into, or the taking on the things we do as a bodhisattva, as a Buddhahood warrior. It's often translated as the guide to the bodhisattva's way of life. Okay. It has a nickname. The nickname is Chunjuk. Chunjuk, it means how to act. And so apparently, if you, in the monastery, if you ask one of the monastics, what are you studying? They may just say Chunjuk, which means we're studying the guide to the bodhisattva's way of life. It was originally taught by someone named Gyaltse Shiwala. Please say Gyaltse Shiwala. He lived in the 700s AD in India. Gyaltse is the Tibetan word for the Bodhisattva. It means child of the Buddha. So it's another way of saying Bodhisattva. And Shiwa is the, oh, sorry, I didn't put the Tibetan. Bodhisattva. I'm going to leave that. I'll fix it later. Gyaltse Shiwa means Shiwa is peace angel, Ha angel. Bodhisattva Shanti Deva. We hear him, Master Shanti Deva is what we usually call him. Shanti means peace. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Remember the peace. Deva means angel, Kla in the Tibetan language. But angel in the Western culture, our religious tradition is to call angels are meant to be messengers of God. They're not themselves fully enlightened beings. They are not themselves God. Nobody's God but God. But God has these messengers, right? And here Geshe Michael uses that term angel because people relate to it well. But in our tradition, when we use the term angel, we don't mean as a messenger of Buddha. We mean a Buddha themselves, not Shanti, not Shakyamuni, different Buddha. So just keep that in mind when you hear and use the term angel. If you're using it outside of our, ACI trained people and you call somebody an angel, just be careful that the other person you're talking to, understands what you're implying. Just to be careful. So Gyaltse Shiwa is Bodhisattva Shanti Deva. This man, born in the 700s AD in India. The implication is that he accomplished this goal. So he knows what he's talking about. And, we'll see. You can draw your own conclusion by the time you've studied his text as to whether you feel he's someone who's teaching us something that he's still aspiring to, or teaching us something that he's already achieved and just seems to be pretending that he hasn't achieved it in order to help encourage us. You can make your own decision about that. This text, we'll hear this story about how it came to be. It's poetry. The whole original text is poetry. In the translations, one of the chapters is almost always translated as prose because the poetry is too esoteric or too subtle to even be able to translate into verse form. So they go to explanatory. But the whole thing is exquisite poetry. So in order to understand it well enough to use, we use a commentary. And the commentary that we'll be studying from, which is in your reading, makes up your reading, is a commentary called Gyaltse Jungok. So there's the prenasal again. Gyaltse Jungok. Again, Gyaltse means child of the Buddhas. Jungok means the entry point. So this commentary is called the entry point for children of the Buddhas. The entry point means if you have a river that you need to cross, and some places the river's wide and some place it's deep and running faster, you'll go up and down the riverbank looking for the place that's the safest or the easiest way to get across. And so that's what this text is called. It's like the most effective way of getting across the river is this commentary on how to use the Guide to the Bodhisattva's Way of Life. It was written by someone named Gyaltse Dharma Rinchen. His dates are 1364 to 1432. This is one of Jetsun Kapa's main two disciples, right? Gyaltse and Kedrub. This is the Gyaltse in Gyaltse. Gyaltse Dharma Rinchen is his full name. He wrote this beautiful commentary. Where to cross the river so that our activities become bodhisattva activities. Currently, the mixed nuts translators are just finishing up a translation of Guide to the Bodhisattva's Way of Life. And it seems, that many people have translated that text, and they're all beautiful. And my, own personal opinion is the first one I picked up, which was Stephen Batchelor's. That's my favorite. But Geshe Michael's going to have one. And, it's going to be the same material and his beautiful poetry. So I'm eager to hear it. Hear it as well. Okay, perfect time for a break. Let's take a break and then we'll hear the story of Master Shantideva. So we take a few minutes, get refreshed, please. Alonso, this group tends to take short breaks, but do what you need to do. I'm going to pause the recording.
I can ask.
I'm back. So apparently there is not all that much known about Master Shantideva's life. You'll get, what Geshe Michael found back then in your reading. So he was born in India. He's the prince to a king and queen. And in those days, the king owns everything and everybody. So apparently his dad's a pretty good king. And his mom is said to be an emanation of Vajrayogini. I don't know how they know that, but it means he's pretty special too. So as a little kid, by the time he's 6 years old, he apparently meets his secret spiritual teacher who teaches him practices to meet Manjushri, the angel Manjushri. Manjushri is the angel whose specialty is wisdom. When I reach my Buddhahood, I'm going to teach people wisdom, says the person. And then that's who Manjushri is, and that's what Manjushri does when you reach them. So this little kid, 6-year-old, I don't know what his name was then, Shantideva, he meets Manjushri. And he's taken his training directly from Manjushri. And by the time he's, I don't know, late teen, early 20s, his dad dies. And all the people, of the kingdom are begging Shantideva to become king. And he didn't want to, but he didn't want to disappoint them. He didn't want to let them down. So he says yes. And he gets all prepared for the coronation. And the night before the coronation, he has this dream. And in the dream, Manjushri is sitting on the king's throne. And Manjushri says to Shantideva, you can't sit on your teacher's throne. And Shantideva takes that as a message to not become king. So he runs away. And he takes himself to Nalanda University and gets ordained. So he must be 20 or 21 years old, or he wouldn't be able to get ordained. So he gets ordained and he studies hard. And, he's already been in training by Manjushri. You could imagine he's learning, he's going, yeah, I know that. And apparently he really did not engage himself in the life of the monastics. As a monastic, you meet for prayers, you take your turn sweeping the floor and doing the dishes. And apparently he just stayed in his room. And he got this reputation for doing nothing but eating, sleeping, and pooping, because that's all they saw him do was eat, poop, go back to his room. So everybody assumed, right, he was just lazy, doing nothing, not pulling his weight. Master Dushe Sumbawa, Busuku is the Sanskrit, I have it. There it is. Mr. Three Thoughts, Busuku. And it's derogatory, right? Saying, you don't pull your own weight. And the other monks were upset with him. The monks are all supported by lay people who, they rely upon the lay people's support. So they need to be doing things to earn that support. And Master Shantideva did not appear to be pulling his own weight. So they wanted to embarrass him such that he would choose to leave the monastery, because they didn't want to kick him out. It's a bad thing to kick out a monk, but they didn't want him to be there. So each monk would from time to time take turns on sharing, like leading the prayers. And they decided, well, let's get this guy to lead the prayers because we know he doesn't know anything and he'll embarrass himself and then he'll choose to leave. So they asked him, won't you take your turn leading the prayers, sometime? And he goes, no, I couldn't possibly. I'm not qualified. And they needle him until he finally goes, okay, I'll do it. So they gleefully arrange a throne that's too high and without any stairs to get to it, a high throne with no stairs to get to it. And they invite all their big sponsors. Again, they're sort of trying to set him up to be really embarrassed. Nasty, right? For the monks. So along comes the day, and Master Shantideva comes down the entry aisle. He makes his 3 prostrations before starting to indicate that he's serving as a stand-in for the Buddha. And the people who have set him up in this way, they're like tittering and giggling because, he's not going to be able to get up on the throne. And he does his 3 prostrations and suddenly he's sitting on the throne. And they kind of go, what? And he says to them, well, I know I'm supposed to recite something that we are all familiar with, but might you like to hear something original? And they're going, whoa, all the better, because now he's really going to make a fool of himself. And he says, I know this thing. And he starts to recite this, what comes to be known as the Guide to the Bodhisattva's Way of Life, in poetry, singing it to them. And, as he's going through it from part to part, like it's extraordinary, and they're beginning to understand they made a mistake. And as he gets to the latter chapters, the chapter on wisdom, they say his mind and the sky were competing for space. Like things were getting so vast and lofty, and that his body even was levitating. And the more he spoke of that wisdom chapter, the higher he got. And some of the monks there had lofty enough minds that they could hear him still, until finally he got so elevated that it wasn't even clear whether there was a 10th chapter at the end, and then he's gone. And they all go, I think we made a big mistake. And they put their heads together to try to remember what was taught. And in the teaching, he mentioned 2 other books that he had written. And they decide, oh my gosh, we've got to get this guy back. We'll track him down and we'll apologize and we'll beg him to come back. So they picked their 2 best monks to go find him. They found him in the south of India somewhere. And they make their apologies. Won't you please come back and teach us? And he goes, no way. But I left the written form of this and the other 2 books in the rafters of my room. You're welcome to them. I'll teach you those other texts. You're welcome to the teachings, but no, I'm not coming back. And he went on to go anywhere in India where there was conflict or where there were teachers teaching inaccurately in order to help people, and spent the rest of his, I don't know what, serving others. So beautiful story where this text came from, and so many loose ends that we'd love to hear more about. My guess that in the ALL database, they've come up with more since this teaching was given. I'm sure it'll come out with the Seiji's next book. So that's who we're studying from, is this fellow who elevated as he's giving his teaching. So this book has 10 chapters. For the remaining of this class, is to see these chapters, what's coming. The chapters make up the outline of the material. And Geshe-la said it's like the outline of the structure of our lives if we decide to choose to step onto this path. He says it's like Mission Impossible. Remember that series? The spies would get the recording cassette and they'd hear it, and it said, if you choose to accept this mission, right, then this will all disappear, and you do it. So it's the same idea. We read this book and then it's up to us to choose to act according to it. There's nothing this tradition will do or can do to make us use it in any way. All right, so the first chapter of the book, here it is. Changchub Kisem Sungwa. Nope, sorry. Changchub Kisem Kipenyan. Changchub is Bodhisattva, Buddha, I want to be Buddha mind. Changchub Kisem is our enlightenment wish. Penyan means the benefits. So the first chapter is the benefits of the wish for enlightenment. We would want to know that before we study how to become enlightened. Why do we want to become enlightened? It might be a good thing to study. First chapter. Second chapter. Dikpa Shakpa. Shakpa means to rip out. Dikpa is purify, to purify and rip out, meaning to purify our negative deeds. We've been aware of ourselves thinking, saying, doing things that when we experience the results of those things, those results we will experience as unpleasant for ourselves and others. And we will likely ignorantly react to those unpleasantnesses in ways that plant seeds for more unpleasantnesses to come to us as a result, even if the immediate result of how we acted seemed to bring some pleasantness. Once we recognize, oh, I've got negative seeds in my mind from my selfish behaviors from before I knew any of this, I would rather not leave them in there if there's something I can do about it. Dikpa Shakpa is what we can do about it, right? How to purify those negative seeds. Third chapter, Changchub Kisam Sungwa. Changchub Kisam, that wish for enlightenment. Sungwa means acquiring it. How to generate our wish for enlightenment. We say it at the beginning of class or beginning of our prayers, but how do we really generate that as a permanent address? Like, how do we get our heart, our mind to be in that state all the time? Changchub Kisam Sungwa. This chapter will talk about generating the wish in the form of the prayer, and then the wish in the form of action. And we'll learn about taking a ceremony to commit ourselves to growing the wish in the form of a prayer, and then how to then take that same ceremony as a ceremony for taking on a dedication to the behavior, taking on the Bodhisattva vow. So we'll learn about the vow ceremony as well. Fourth chapter, Bhakya-tempa. Bhakya-tempa means learning to be careful. They don't use the term growing our mindfulness, but it's the same idea. Here, the Bodhisattva is more similar, Geshe-la says, as like when in olden days, when a woman gets married, the new married couple goes to live with the husband's family, and the husband's mother, right? Now the mother-in-law still rules the roost. So the new wife needs to learn how to get along with the mother-in-law such that the new wife doesn't rock the boat. So new wife is like walking on eggshells. Do you know that term? Being really, really careful in her behavior not to upset the mother-in-law until they get to be good friends, right? And then for sure, she's not going to upset the mother-in-law, but right, she has all this learning to do. And in order to be so careful, she's got this Bodhisattva, this learning to be careful. When we are growing our Bodhisattva ideal and training ourselves in this new behavior, we're wanting to be so careful with our own awareness of our behavior choices that we don't upset the mother-in-law of our own heart's wish for enlightenment. Because if we upset our own wish for enlightenment, it's going to go running away. And we don't want to do that. We're trying to cultivate it constantly, like being on our best behavior. Next chapter, Sheishen Sungwa. Do you recognize the word Sheishen from meditation training? Sheishen is that awareness. This is guarding awareness. It includes the drempa, the recollection, but the chapter's about the awareness. It is the chapter on meditation, but it'll be interesting what it's not when we get there. It's not a meditation training. It is an awareness training that will help in our meditation. How to hold our awareness of the influence of our bodhicitta on our behavior choices. We need to be aware of what we're feeling, how we're wanting to respond, and aware that we can choose something different, and then aware that we are choosing something different, and aware of, is that choice what I really want to do, right? That takes this really heightened level of awareness. Sheishen Sungwa. In meditation, the recollection keeps us on our object. The Sheishen keeps us bright, alert, and intense. Keeps us correcting our dullness and our agitation. Next chapter, 6th chapter, Suppa Tempa. Suppa means patience. Geshe-la prefers the not getting angry because patience has all these different connotations and really sometimes doesn't bleed over into not getting angry in the situations where your buttons have been pushed. That's much a stronger kind of self-control than simply patience. So that Suppa Tempa is the chapter on not getting angry. It's often called forbearance, which in English really isn't a word that we come across so much. And again, it's not as strong as to say the perfection of just not getting angry anymore. Right? We've talked about it. It's a powerful spiritual attainment. Chapter 7 is Tsundru Tempa, the chapter on joyous effort, having a good time, doing all our kindnesses, even when we don't want to, even in the face of unpleasantness, right? Even when it seems like being kind is going to get us slapped in the face, right? Having a good time, not just doing it, but having a good time doing it. It's a whole separate practice. 8th chapter, Samten Tempa. Here, the chapter on meditation, the actual meditation chapter. Again, it won't be what we expect. But it will be about how to reach the platform from which we can experience emptiness directly. And then 9th chapter, Sherab Liu. Liu, L-E-U, is the actual word for chapter. The chapter on wisdom. It's the chapter on emptiness and how to come to experience it directly. It's a discussion of various ways to learn about emptiness such that we can use our intellectual understanding to practice the previous practices colored by a growing understanding of wisdom to help those practices grow the goodness that will ripen someday as the direct perception of emptiness, which is through which we gain the actual wisdom, which we then use to do those practices some more, now colored with the actual wisdom that makes those same practices now the causes for our Buddhahood, whereas before they were the causes for our wisdom. And then there was a 10th chapter, No Way Liu, the chapter on dedication, where Master Shantideva takes all the goodness that he's done and he sends it out. He sends out its repercussions towards all these particular goodnesses that he would like to see happen in the world. That chapter 10 is so beautiful. By the power of what I've just done, he says to them, may this happen, may I become this, may I do that, may beings in hell get rained upon so the fires will all go out, may this, may this, may that. It's a huge teaching in and of itself about suffering and stopping suffering and all the different kinds, and how our wish to be Buddha for the benefit of all sentient beings, actually, it's a glimpse into what it is to be that being that we're saying we want to become. You know, do you include in you being a Buddha, being rain on the hell realms? You know, sunshine on the cold hells to melt the ice. It's really exquisite. So the task of the Bodhisattva is to perfect the 6 perfections, right? We know the 6 perfections. The perfection of giving, perfection of moral discipline, perfection of not getting angry, the perfection of meditation, the perfection of wisdom. Wait, did I miss one?
Joyous effort.
Joyous effort. Funny, I missed that one. So wouldn't you expect that a book on the Bodhisattva's way of life would have a chapter called The Perfection of Giving, Perfection of Moral Discipline? So let's look. Where are they? The 6 things that a Bodhisattva must do must be in this book. So let's start backwards. Chapter 9 is the chapter on wisdom. So we've got the perfection of wisdom. Must be getting to the end of class. Psalm 10. Perfection of meditation. There it is, a whole chapter on it. Zendru, joyous effort. Teaching on joyous effort, Zendru Tempa. Supa, practice of not getting angry. Those are pretty straightforward. The Sheishan Sungwa, guarding awareness. Which perfection is that?
Morality.
Morality, exactly. How to tiptoe around the mother-in-law. Morality. What are we missing?
Giving.
Giving, right? Yes, Janet.
Okay, so you said watchman. Is that unrelated to this then? Like you said to do the watchman exercise. Is it unrelated to
How
morale?
is the Sheishan related to morality? The watcher. The boss is yelling at you. No watcher in place. I didn't do that. How dare you yell, blame the on, right? We yell right back. Boss is yelling at me. My Sheishan is strong. Whoa. Boss yelling. Not liking this. I didn't do it. I want to yell back. Louder. Oh, do I really want to do that? Ah, no. I'm going to be like a bump on a log. Or better, I'm sorry you're upset with me. How can I help you? It takes Sheishan. It takes this heightened level of awareness to be able to choose a different reaction. And that's morality. So it's like underneath morality is this awareness. It's an interesting teaching in itself. Why he didn't just say, look, you got to live morally and these kind of moralities. The chapter isn't about that. It's about how to be keenly aware so that we can choose our morality better. We already have morality, right? Now we want to heighten it. Thanks for asking. But what are we missing? Giving. Giving's the first perfection. Where is it in his chapters?
10.
10. What do you mean 10? 10's the dedication. It comes at the end.
Yeah, he is giving all what he has achieved.
Yeah, beautiful. He's giving away what he's achieved. It shows the cyclic or spiral aspect of these 6 perfections. They're not a linear thing at all. They build on each other. We use every one to grow the other ones. It's not like we finish our perfection of giving and then move on to our morality. They're all intertwined in this beautiful dance. And so we start with our increasing our sharing. We do all of our goodness. At the end of the day, we give it all away, right? Which is the highest form of giving anyway. And I want to say start again, but it's not we're starting again. We're just carrying on. So it's really extraordinary that he so subtly tells us the power of giving actually comes at the end of our 6 perfections, as well as at the beginning.
Lama, your question, the one with the morality is only the chapter on the guardian awareness, or is also the carefulness, the 4th and the 5th?
Using carefulness and guarding awareness. Yeah, Geshe only called it the guarding awareness, but we could make the case for the chapter for using carefulness also be part of our morality. Yeah, I like that.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm. So the chapters before, the benefits are of the wish, that's inspiring us to decide that, yes, I might want to take on this task of becoming a spiritual warrior, and deciding that there's an enemy within me that I'm going to fiercely do battle with, right? They really do use this violent metaphor, because we'll see why in the future. The mental affliction of ignorance is so tenacious. It takes, wrath and power to overcome it. And if we let ourselves think, well, I'll be nice to my ignorance, it will take advantage of that. And we'll go in the wrong direction, thinking we're going in the right direction. So I struggled for a long time. I'm not going to use those violent metaphors, and I still really don't, but anyway, I take that back. I do. Because it takes a ferocity against our own selfishness in order to overcome it when we're in the midst of some really powerful situation where we are convinced that we have to act in a certain way in order to get a certain result. It takes forcefulness and armor and real warrior-like attitude to fight with our own selfishness. So. And we'll learn how to do it. Yes, Janet.
I mean, but isn't that the point? We're not omniscient. So we can't know how to help someone, and therefore we can't figure it out. It's
We
not
can't
like
figure-
that.
Right. Right. At some point we do this thing they call surrender. But, if we say, oh, just take this all on blind faith and do it, come on, right? We might start out doing it, but when things get hard, if we're taking on these new behaviors because some authority figure told us to, at some point we're gonna say no. It really, until we show it to ourselves that it's an advantage for us to follow, we should still be using our own an analysis, our own checking before we apply ourselves to the teachings that are given. And it's such a relief that Buddha himself says that, right? We learned it in course 1 or 2. Don't take what I teach you, cut it, what is it? Cut it, rub it, and burn it against your own experience. Prove it to yourself before you try it on, before you try to live by it. Yes, Alonso.
Oh, sorry, but which are the 6 perfections?
You guys help Alonso, please. What's the first one?
Generosity.
Right,
Giving.
generosity, the perfection of sharing. There's 4 levels. 3 levels sutra, 4 levels tantra. What's the first one?
Material things.
Material things.
Sharing material things. Food, clothing, money, rides, and jobs. What's the second one?
Protection.
Protection, safety. Why? Why provide somebody else safety? So you can be safe.
We want
Right.
safety.
We want safety. Why provide somebody with material things? We need material things. We need safety in order to study the Dharma.
Yeah.
What's the third one that isn't always mentioned in the sutra?
Love.
Love. What's the fourth one?
Teachings and advice.
Right, Dharma, wisdom. Second, perfection,
Morality.
Morality.
morality, right? Avoiding harming others, generating kindness, good deeds, kindness, merit. Doing both for the benefit of all sentient beings. 10 basic things to avoid. And so 10 basic behaviors to train ourselves in. What are the 10? 3 of body.
Protecting life.
Avoiding, yeah, let's do the positive. Protecting life,
Protect. Giving.
protecting others' property,
Property.
protecting others' relationships. The 4 of speech, speaking truthfully, speaking to bring people together,
Meaningful speech.
sweetly, kindly, gently, speaking purposefully, mindfully. 3 of mind, intellect. These are harder in the positive, aren't they?
Rejoicing when others get what you want.
Yeah, rejoicing with others' successes, especially if there are successes you wanted. The other one?
Feeling sorry when others get what they don't want.
Yeah, feeling sorry for others' misfortune, even willing to help others in their misfortune, even when I don't like them. And then third one,
Correct view.
correct view, mainly understanding that our awareness does go on in an infinite time, and that what we see ourselves think, say, and do brings consequences. Our behavior has consequences. So past and future lives are true, and our behavior has consequences is the basis of the right view that has to do with the 10 moralities. Okay, where were we? Perfection 2, perfection 3.
Patience. Not getting angry.
Right, the perfection of not getting angry. It's got different levels too. The ability to wait in the doctor's office for your late appointment without getting grouchy at the receptionist. It's the second one.
Not to be irritated when something not pleasurable experience we have.
Yeah, to be able to take on unpleasant experiences and not get grouchy about it. And then higher level.
Not yell back to angry boss.
Yeah,
Someone.
not yell at the angry boss. When that button that pushes you, that makes you get angry, gets pushed, first level of this is you want to yell back, and you don't. You work with it. That gets burned off. The button still gets pushed. The feeling comes up, and you're recognizing just some feeling. It doesn't have to be anger. So now we can we can act in a different way. And we do that for a while. And then pretty soon we get in a situation we expect the button to get pushed. And we're astounded. doesn't get pushed. Right? That's the not getting angry piece. But we develop it by being in situations where the button gets pushed and we choose a different response. Burning it off, not repeating. Okay, what's the next one? Fourth, perfection.
Is effort.
Joyous effort. Having a good time giving. Moral disciplining. Not getting angry. Meditating. Applying our wisdom to our giving. Moral discipline. Do you see? It's circular. And so then fifth is the perfection of meditation. Which has many factors. It's the cultivating the mental concentration that can be the platform from which wisdom can be experienced. In order for our practice of meditation to actually lead to successful meditation, we need to have planted the goodness in our mind that can ripen as that. And the goodnesses that can ripen as that deep meditation is the goodnesses that we make in our perfection of giving, moral discipline, not getting angry, joyous effort. So if our meditation practice is not progressing, we need to clear out obstacles and plant more goodnesses and continue to do our effort on the cushion. Our daily effort on the cushion doesn't make our cushion time better. Our off-cushion efforts is what makes our on-cushion efforts work. That leads to deepening intellectual understandings of emptiness that we apply to our behaviors of giving, moral discipline, not getting angry, etc. That increases the strength of goodness, that deepens our meditation, that deepens our wisdom, that grows our giving until it culminates in direct perception of emptiness, from which we now have the wisdom through which we do our giving, etc. Right? So, nice review. So we've got the big picture so that we know where we're going in the rest of this course. So this course one only does the first couple of chapters. I'm not recalling how many of them. Course 12, we have 10, 11, 12. Course 12 is the wisdom chapter, wisdom and dedication. Course 11 is these other chapters, so we'll see. We're not going to do it all in one course. It's too much. Okay, so I'm done. That's class 1. Let's do our dedication. Remember that person we wanted to be able to help? We've learned a lot that we will use sooner or later to help them in that deep and ultimate way someday. And that's a great, great goodness. So please be happy with yourself. And think of this goodness like a beautiful glowing gemstone that you can hold in your hands. Recall your own precious holy guides. See how happy they are with you. Feel your gratitude to them, your reliance upon them. Ask them to please stay close, to continue to guide you, help you, inspire you. And then offer them this gemstone of goodness. See them accept it and bless it. And they carry it with them right back into your heart. See them there, feel them there. Their love, their compassion, their wisdom. It feels so good, we want to keep it forever. And so we know to share it by the power of the goodness that we've just done. May all beings complete the collection of merit and wisdom, and thus gain the two ultimate bodies that merit and wisdom make. So use those 3 long exhales to share this goodness with that one person. To share it with everyone you love. To share it with every existing being everywhere. See them all filled with loving kindness, filled with wisdom, and may it be so. All right, thank you very much. So if you do your homeworks on paper, show it to me at the beginning of class. If you do it electronically, you're welcome to mail it, email it to me. I don't look at them in detail, but I see that they're done, right? And I rejoice. Ta-da. So you're welcome to do that. All right, that's all. I will see you Thursday night. Everybody has
Lama,
the materials they need. Yes, Luisa.
short question. What was the name of the translator you say that you liked for the translation of The Way of the Bodhisattva, the book?
Stephen Batchelor, Stephen with a PH, I think. Batchelor, Batchelor, or something like that.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Janet. Okay, I love you. See you later. Have fun. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Nice to have you with us,
Bye-bye.
Alonso. Okay, bye-bye.
This day.